One for me, for changing my life and supporting my dreams. Having my little way, ghetto used to act funny. I don't know who I can trust. We confident, they don't know about us. I don't trust these niggas. Ain't no place we warmed up. Ain't no microwave in the room.
Y'all have microwaves there?
Yeah.
Right back with the hook. Under. Get under. Yep. Double it. Double it.
I started pressing his ass. Yeah, get the paddles. Little bro.
That's 12, man. That's 12 rounds.
Shakur just definitely did a lot for my career, bro. And everything was genuine. January 31st, they're going to see the two of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. I'm not paying attention to Teofimo, bro. I don't care about Teofimo. At the end of the day, Teofimo is terrified of me.
He's going to want to make this a firefight, but I think that's going to be his downfall. It ain't me more so proving it to myself. It's more so just stamping it, like cementing it in my legacies. I think with the guys that he fought, they either had this, but they didn't have that. And when he's fighting me, I got this, I got that. And that's going to be the difference come fight night.
Shakur hones his craft on this final training day, zeroing in on conditioning, smart eating habits, mental discipline, and flawless technique rather than just building muscle mass.
I'm not trying to put on all that muscle and all that extra they keep talking about. Skills pay the bills, and that's what's going to show up on fight night.
We looking forward to this here fight with Teofimo. I know we can guarantee you for sure, 100% he's going to be ready.
This camp feel way different from previous camps. Being away from my daughter, being away from my future wife, that's the most challenging thing. You got to keep your eyes on the prize. This is sharp as I think I done been for a fight. My diet, I let the nutritionists and all them kind of people take care of that. I just show up and eat whatever they give me. So I pay attention to what makes me feel good, and I just stay on that.
On his last day in the gym, Shakur looks completely dialed in and ready to go, polishing his skills, building his endurance, and fine-tuning his game plan for what's coming.
My name won't get bigger. I'm going to become a superstar later on, and I just got to keep working.
And this is the main event. He is a former featherweight world champion, the 2016 Olympic silver medalist from Newark, New Jersey, Shakur Stevenson.
According to his coach, working with Shakur feels almost effortless because he absorbs instruction like a sponge, executes every move with precision, and never loses concentration during their sessions.
A coach to Shakur is like a coach's dream, you know. He's technically sound, you know. He's disciplined. He does everything right, you know. All you gotta do is talk gloves and give him water majority of the time. You don't gotta worry about skipping no steps, you know. He gonna follow everything, plus do a little more on his own time, you know. You make a coach job easy.
The intensity ramps up as Shakur works the pads with his trainer, drilling combinations over and over, boosting his hand speed, sharpening his accuracy, and perfecting his timing while staying locked in mentally.
I'm on a jump rope, try to do some sit-ups and shit, some abs. It ain't over yet. I think like 8, 9 on the bag, 3, 4 on the pads. What was that? 3 on the jump rope. I did 15 rounds altogether.
19 if you count them 7 with the shadow boxing.
Yeah, I did 22 rounds altogether. Now it's time to go eat.
Shakur shows genuine gratitude for everyone in his corner, especially calling out Terrence as someone who's been like a mentor to him, pushing him forward and offering guidance that goes way beyond just boxing.
Welcome out. I put a lot of great people around me, challenge me and push me and take me to the next level, and I think that's what keeps me at my sharpest. Terrence Crawford, that's my big brother. I love him to death. I feel like if he wasn't in my career and in my life, it'd have been very difficult getting to the level that I got to. He kind of told me is take every guy serious. Seeing him and seeing how he prepared for guys who I know that it's not on his level. It kind of turned me up to make sure that I do the same.
You look out, you 4 kings, but you're in my way. So I gotta move you out my way.
This guy is the best, and we're here to face the best. That's just what it is.
Teo's that guy. Like, I admire his style. I done said this before. I think he's a hell of a boxer. He's fast, he's strong. He got boxing IQ, you know how to outbox people. We sparred before. We did 3 rounds.
Shakur sets the record straight about that sparring footage Teofimo put out there, explaining that what people saw was completely fake because they hadn't even started sparring yet, and the clip was edited to tell a false story.
That is very misleading. It was the first round. So we warming up. Ain't nobody really land nothing. Like, he know deep down inside, he remember how the sparring went.
He said stop recording. Come on, dog.
Well, he gonna want to make this a firefight, but I think that's gonna be his downfall. Being that I know that I'm getting in the ring with the truth, I want to elevate my game and make sure that I'm better than him. I want to be better than him in every on fight night, and that's what we're gonna do.
Right now, Shakur's going through his stretching routine and warming up properly, working on his flexibility, making sure he stays injury-free, and getting his body completely prepared for the grueling training that's still ahead. King Jeremil, Nashon, and Ben Israel have all been putting Shakur through pad sessions throughout this camp, working on his punch combinations, improving his rhythm, and making sure he stays razor sharp and battle ready. This leaked audio from Shakur Stevenson gives us a fascinating look into how his mind works as he prepares for the Teofimo Lopez showdown. And while he's always been known for talking about legacy, skill, and proving he's the pound-for-pound king, Shakur now openly admits that the paycheck matters more to him than any belt or recognition. During this conversation, he basically dismisses championship belts as nothing more than fancy decorations, saying they're just trophies meant to sit in an office rather than representing real value. What he really wants are those big financial paydays, and he'd rather put that money into real estate or actually enjoy the benefits of his hard work instead of just staring at belts hanging on his wall. Boxing experts are pointing out that this shows a major change in how Shakur presents himself publicly, because before this, he was always focused on legacy fights, and specifically going after Tank Davis to solidify his place in history.
Shakur, in a recent interview for the Teofimo fight, they asked him, have you wore your belt in the crib? And he was like, nah. And then he spends the next few minutes downplaying belts, right? Oh, belts are cool, but they're trophies, they're trinkets. Listen.
Championship belt around the house for fun. I don't know what it is about belts. Like, it's like trophies is trophies. Like, I don't know. I'd rather get a big check and go spend some money on some property or something. Belts is cool. Like, they good to place in your office and put them up. They look good for people that come see them. I think the money. I like the big checks.
Do you think you can land a punch blind?
I like the money. I don't care about belts. Time to expose the boy. Previously, Shakur spent his whole career talking more so about legacy and prove it.
Now his attitude sounds a lot more like Gervonta Davis, who's always been upfront about chasing the biggest paychecks over symbolic wins. When Shakur openly talks about prioritizing money, it shows he's thinking more like a businessman and less about what people think or traditional boxing prestige. Some fans might not like hearing this, but it actually reflects what modern boxing has become, where success gets measured not just by titles, but by how well fighters can cash in on their opportunities and build long-term wealth.
For that very reason, speaking of Gervonta Davis, your newfound statements of not caring about the belts sounds eerily similar to what Gervonta Davis has been saying. Roll the clip.
At one time, it was always Tank in your mind who you wanted. Is that still the same way or no?
I came to terms with accepting that the fight may not ever happen at the end of the day, and I can't it is what it is.
You was literally saying that fight's gonna happen no matter what. It's too much money. Eventually, it's gonna happen. But what changed it now?
You could tell he's not really he don't want it like me. I really want this.
Right.
He's
Tank don't want to fight. I really want it. So for starters, if two people haven't fought for whatever reason, how do you determine in that situation who wants it? Neither one of y'all fought each other.
Jesse Hart broke down the upcoming battle between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez in serious detail. And what he had to say really adds another layer to this matchup. Hart thinks this fight works so well because these two have completely opposite approaches, with Shakur being this master of distance who uses his footwork to control space and makes opponents fight exactly where he wants them to. Most fighters just can't figure out how to get inside on him, but Hart expects Teofimo to march right forward and completely disrupt that game plan. While other opponents just accept getting picked apart from the outside, Teofimo is going to bring the pressure, get in close, and turn this into a war right from round one. Hart also mentioned that Shakur doesn't back down when things get messy on the inside, using his strength, clever positioning, and some sneaky moves to throw off anyone who tries to rough him up. The big question everyone's asking about this main event between Shakur and Teofimo Lopez is what happens next.
I love that fight on a lot of reasons because Gordo, Teofimo Lopez, the takeover, is going to come. He's going to try to break that distance best he can. He's not going to just give in to that distance that Shakur got with his feet. Shakur is a distance fighter, and people don't try to break his distance because he'll get rough. He'll use that forearm and put it in your throat. He'll push you back. He'll try to. Once you break his distance, Shakur get rough in there. That's what I like about it. He ain't scared to make it rough. He ain't scared to get physical with you. But Gordo is not going for that like Lomachenko. This is gonna be, I'm curious to see.
But here's what we really need to know. What does Shakur do if those inside tactics don't work? If Teofimo manages to get past that distance control, Shakur might have to completely change his approach, start throwing more punch combinations, and fight in ways that don't come naturally to him. What's really interesting is that Hart believes Shakur's most dangerous weapon isn't his hand speed or knockout power, but actually his footwork and how he manages distance. The way he controls space might be as good as any active boxer today, and that one skill could determine whether he cruises to an easy victory or finds himself in the hardest fight of his professional career.
If he breaks Shakur Stevens' distance, in the rough tactics and being physical doesn't work, I'm curious to see what bag is Shakur is going to go in. Is he going to just start all out throwing combinations, or he going to still try to establish his distance? We know that Shakur distance is his greatest asset. His distance is not his timing, not his hand speed, because that's all that to me is average. He had average hand speed. He had average punching power. He had average footwork. His greatest asset is his distance. That's what he has. That's greater than Floyd Mayweather. It's greater than Andre Ward. It's greater than Usyk.
Shakur Stevenson fired back at Teofimo Lopez's trash talk. by saying it all sounds like jealousy talking rather than actual facts. He made it clear that no matter what platform he fights on, whether it's regular TV or those big ESPN showcases, his viewership numbers always come out on top. Even when they're fighting in their own backyards, Shakur claims he's always pulled bigger audiences and gotten louder reactions from the crowd. That's why he thinks Teofimo's anger really comes from not getting the same level of attention in media coverage. At the same time, Shakur acknowledged that every fighter craves that recognition, but he felt like Teofimo went about expressing those frustrations in the wrong way, letting his emotions turn into unfair attacks.
I think it was more so a jealousy, but not just being realistic about what was going on at the time. I think if you looked at my views on regular TV, because people try to act like, oh, regular TV, that's a good thing when you fighting on ESPN. So you looked at my views and you looked at his views, I always did more than him. When you put me in front of my hometown fans, you put him in front of his hometown fans, I always did more than him. So I think that's where the jealousy kind of lies. Yeah, like at the end of the day, he really ain't had no reason to say all of them things, but he just jealous that he's not getting the shine that he feel like he deserved. And I felt like he deserved it too. I don't disagree with him.
You don't want to take it away from him.
No, I don't disagree with how he felt about it, but the way he went about it, like, oh, they don't.
Fighters understand it's not about ESPN. It's about who you really are as a person. Shakur Stevenson's longtime trainer, Wally Moses, sent a strong message to Teofimo Lopez, emphasizing that Shakur's skill set runs much deeper than what people give him credit for. Moses wanted everyone to remember that Shakur wasn't just some gifted amateur prospect, but actually became world champion multiple times and even took home IBA Fighter of the Year recognition. That award meant he was officially considered the top amateur boxer anywhere in the world during that period. From Moses' perspective, Shakur has been dominating opponents his entire life, consistently outpointing and outclassing thousands of fighters, while climbing up through every level of competition. Moses doesn't see this track record as lucky breaks, but believes Shakur's fundamentals, work ethic, and boxing IQ put him in a completely different category than most current fighters.
You know, Shakur wasn't just an amateur boxing champion. He was a world amateur boxing champion on more than one occasion. Also, he was the IBA Fighter of the Year, making him the best boxer in the world, an amateur boxer. So, you know, Shakur is looking for those same things from Jay Quinn in terms of inside the professional rankings, but Shakur has been proven that he's been the #1 boxer throughout his life. He was #1 in every category that he boxed in, from a kid coming up. You know what I mean? Here in the U.S., he had to eclipse every boxer over like 1,000, almost close to 2,000 points in terms of his winning. So, you know, it's not a thing that, you know, people be talking about. What have Shakur done? They know what Shakur done in his amateur ranking. And Shakur done everything that they never were capable of doing.
While everyone else gets distracted by speed and flashiness, Moses talks about the underrated aspects like perfect timing, ring control, and some surprisingly heavy hands. He suggested that Teofimo might be sleeping on that punching power, cautioning that clean connections could shift the momentum in an instant. When it comes to moving up in weight, Moses brushed off any size concerns, explaining that today's fighters naturally grow bigger through better nutrition and smart strength training instead of forcing unnecessary bulk. Shakur, according to Moses, is just naturally filling out his frame while keeping all his speed and explosiveness intact, bringing skill, experience, and sneaky power into every exchange. Moses is convinced that Shakur walks into this fight completely ready to make an emphatic statement.
It's only going to be a matter of time before he proves, you know, this caliber of fighter that he is to the world.
Now, as far as the weight jump goes, what's that preparation like? That'll be his 4th weight class.
Well,
like, what do you look to? Do you look to add more muscle? Do you like what's the proper way of adding weight when jumping up?
Let me give you an example. All right, let's look at when Terrence fought Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talking about him walking up and moving up here. The weight was going to be a problem, but a lot of people don't know what these cats are really walking around at. So, you know, the weight factor being a problem not appropriate. It may be appropriate with some fighters, but, you know, some people are looking to grow, give more.
Some people just keep getting stronger throughout their entire lives. Jamil Herring dropped some real knowledge about what Teofimo Lopez needs to do if he wants any chance of beating Shakur Stevenson. Drawing from his own experience, Herring broke down just how frustrating it is to try boxing Shakur from the outside. Even though he had the reach advantage, he kept coming up short while Shakur picked him apart with pinpoint counters. That frustration starts building up, the mistakes start piling up, and before you know it, you're chasing shadows around the ring. By the time you figure out what adjustments to make, you're already way behind on the scorecards. That's exactly the trap Herring is warning Teofimo to stay out of. In Herring's opinion, trying to beat Shakur in a pure boxing match is basically asking for trouble, because Shakur lives for controlling distance, perfect timing, and ring generalship, punishing opponents for even the smallest mistakes. What Teofimo needs to do instead is play to his own strengths.
If you watch carefully, he uses his front foot as a measuring stick, and then that's how he gets his distance on you. And even then, like me having the longer reach, he was still able to make me miss and make me pay for it. And then that's when after a while, I just had to throw out boxing out the window and just fight him. But by then, it was too late. It was too late. I found myself playing catch up. I was already cut up, so we know how that ended. But then when you got a guy like Teo, which is another good friend of mine, Teo is so elusive where he has a really good offbeat rhythm. I mean, we seen him in his last fight, Arnold Barbosa. You seen him when he fought Josh Taylor. You seen it when how he comes out the gate against Lomachenko, and I believe he has to do that even with Shakur. You gotta basically be the bully because he's the bigger man. He has to basically put his foot on the gas and step to Shakur. But I think it's a great matchup, and it's two real good styles that clash. And for me, I also, despite what people may think, or maybe the one loss on Teofimo's record,
Lopez has the size advantage, the physical strength, and that explosive speed with an awkward rhythm that's hard to time. Herring thinks Lopez has to come forward from the opening bell, mess up Shakur's spacing, and force those rough exchanges instead of letting Shakur get comfortable and settle into his preferred rhythm. The whole strategy has to be smart aggression, where Teofimo can't afford to be tentative or fight with too much respect. He needs to control the tempo, keep the pressure coming, and make this a street fight instead of a technical showcase. If he can turn it into that kind of brutal battle rather than a tactical chess match, Herring believes Lopez gives himself his best shot at pulling off the upset.
I think it's a great matchup for boxing. I'm actually excited for it.
When you look at the styles, and you think, okay, Shakur is going to fight the way he fights, because that's who he is, and it's not a knock to him or his style. It works for him, but I guess in this case, Teo. Can Teo box with Shakur and win rounds, or does he have to be on him, be aggressive, and pressure him?
I think he can. But I think he used to mainly use his size and his speed. Teo has a good snap. He has a good snap in his punches, and I don't think he wants to make it too much of a chess match with Shakur, because that's, like you said, that's what Shakur's game. He has good eyes. He can see everything coming. I mean, we see with the Cepeda fight. Cepeda, I think Cepeda's issue was he was fighting at the same speed.
We'll wrap things up right there. Make sure you keep watching for more content coming your way.